This message has no affiliation with the Department of War. Good evening, everyone. Last time we scratched the surface on why the same products like cereals, sodas, and snacks have one recipe for the United States and a cleaner one for Europe and beyond. Today we're going further, uncovering more risks from these double standards, exposing the silent killers lurking on our plates like ultra-processed foods, high-fructose corn syrup, inflammatory seed oils, and now the pervasive endocrine disruptors like xenoestrogens and phytoestrogens hidden in processed foods that may be contributing to hormonal imbalances, including more feminine traits in males. And most crucially, sharing practical steps that you can take right now to fight back and improve your health. At the end, I'll answer one of your burning questions, and an exclusive, you get to hear my ceremonial speech I conducted in my public speaking class. This is the Martin Memo. The Martin Memo. So I'd like to start by expanding on those ingredient double standards. In Europe, the precautionary principle reigns supreme. If there is even a hint of risks from an additive, it is banned or restricted until proven safe. Here in the U.S., the FDA often waits for conclusive proof on them, which could take years or decades, while these chemicals stay on the shelves. This means everyday items like Skittles, Gatorade, or even bread contain stuff that's off limits abroad, but here we can consume all we want. Take titanium dioxide, or E171. It's a whitening agent that is in candies, gums, and baked goods, making them brighter. I actually had seen this the other day in peppermint on the Walmart shelf. Europe banned it in 2022 after studies linked it to DNA damage, gut inflammation, and potential cancer risks. It is considered a genotoxic, meaning it can harm our cells' genetic material. Yet in the US, like I already mentioned, it is on the stores today. In fact, it's still generally recognized as safe by the FDA. Then there's potassium bromate. It is used to strengthen dough and breads and rolls. It is a suspected carcinogen banned in Europe, China, India, and even Brazil since the 1990s. Animal studies show it causes kidney and thyroid tumors, and the International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies it as a possible carcinogenic to humans. In the U.S., it is still allowed in many states. However, California, it does require a warning label. Whoop-de-doo. And don't forget about BHA or BHT. These are preservatives in cereals, chips, and gum to prevent rancidity. These compounds are endocrine disruptors, messing with hormones and linked to cancer in lab animals. The EU restricts them heavily, but here, a free-for-all again. Moving on down now to red dye number 3. It's the same dye that's used to color candies, fruit snacks, and even some cherries. It's banned in Europe for hyperactivity in kids and thyroid cancer risks in rats. We're still using it here. Propylparaben is a preservative in tortillas and muffins. It's a hormone mimic linked to fertility issues and is outlawed in the EU for food use, but yet we consume it. I wish I could make this up, but the list goes on and on and on. And these aren't just rare examples. They're in up to 60% of the U.S. packaged foods. What's the overall effect of all this? It is causing higher rates of obesity, cancer, and chronic diseases compared to Europe. The MAHA movement aims to close this gap by pushing for FDA reform, which is so long overdue, like tightening the GRAS loophole where companies can self-declare additives as safe without any oversight. This has been long overdue, and I'm glad RFK Jr. is taking this seriously. Now let's talk about the silent killers. Those insidious elements in the American diet that don't just scream danger, but erode our health over time. We're not just talking about additives, it's the big picture culprits like ultra-processed foods, high-fructose corn syrup, and seed oils. And now let's add another layer to that. How most of our foods today are ultra-processed and loaded with estrogen-mimicking compounds, potentially contributing to hormonal shifts that could lead to more feminine characteristics in males. Ultra-processed foods, or UPFs, make up over 50% of the U.S. calories. Think about chips, sodas, frozen meals, and cereals engineered for addiction with added sugars, fats, and salts. They are designed to hit the bliss points, making you crave more, but the overall total of it, a 31% higher mortality risk, plus links to obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and even mental health issues like depression. And why? It's because they spike our blood sugar, disrupt our gut microbiomes, and promote inflammation without being real nutrition. RFK Jr. calls them poison because that is exactly what they are, and he blames them for the chronic disease epidemic, rightfully so. High fructose corn syrup is cheap, and it's in everything from yogurt to bread. Unlike regular sugar, it is metabolized in the liver, leading to fatty liver disease, insulin resistance, and obesity. Studies show it boosts uric acid, raising gout and hypertension risks, and it's a key driver of the metabolic syndrome affecting 1 in 3 Americans today. Moving to seed oils like soybean, corn, and canola, they are omega-6 heavy, promoting chronic inflammation when overconsumed. They're in fried foods and dressings, and they are linked to heart disease, arthritis, and autoimmune issues because they throw off our omega-3-6 balance. When processed at high heats, like fried foods, they can form harmful compounds like aldehydes. When we dive deeper, a huge chunk of these ultra-processed foods, over 70% of the American food supply, is processed to some degree. That means they all contain estrogen-like substances, either natural phytoestrogens from soy or synthetic xenoestrogens from pesticides, plastics and packaging, and additives. Phytoestrogens can bind to estrogen receptors and exert weak estrogenic effects, while xenoestrogens like BPA can disrupt the endocrine system more aggressively. In men, chronic exposure has been linked in studies to lowered testosterone, elevated estrogen levels, and reduced sperm quality. This is a big factor in the rising rates of male fertility issues and hormonal shifts observed over recent decades. These silent killers work in synergy. Ultra-processed foods loaded with high fructose corn syrup, seed oils, and estrogen create a perfect storm for disease that kills quietly. There's no symptoms until a heart attack, some sort of diagnosis, or a subtle hormone change hits. The whole MAHA strategy report calls for defining ultra-processed foods clearly and reforming dietary guidelines to prioritize whole foods over this crap that they keep pushing. Knowledge is power, but action is transformation. So what can we do better under MAHA's umbrella? The good news is you don't have to wait for policy changes. Start today with these evidence-based strategies. First, read labels religiously. I know that when I go to stores now, that's one of the first things I'm doing when I pick up one of my favorite items, and then unfortunately nowadays I have to start putting it back because it's loaded with all this crap that I did not realize before doing my research. Avoid anything with additives like we discussed. Look for the no artificial colors or preservative-free. Even shop European brands when possible. Apps like Yuka or EWG's Healthy Living can scan barcodes for risks. I also have one of those apps on my phones. To dodge estrogen mimics, steer clear of heavily processed soy-laden foods, opt for non-GMO or organic soy if you must, and minimize plastic packaged items to reduce xenoestrogen leaching. Opt for whole, unprocessed foods. I'm talking about, I know it's foreign now, but fresh fruits and veggies, lean proteins and nuts, and whole grains. MAHA pushes for USDA reform to emphasize these in guidelines, reducing junk food subsidies. Aim for a portfolio diet, heavy in plants to lower cholesterol and disease risks. For hormonal balance, include veggies like broccoli or cauliflower, which may help metabolize excess estrogens. Support local and organic farming to cut pesticide exposure. MAHA wants to close chemical loopholes in food. Cook at home, simple swaps like olive oil over seed oils, honey over a high fructose corn syrup, glass or stainless steel storage over plastic, and homemade snacks over ultra-processed foods. Advocate. Join MAHA campaigns for better labeling like front-of-pack warnings on UPFs and push states to limit junk in schools. Stop poisoning our kids. Now, I know we've covered a lot, from banning additives to silent killers, including those sneaky little estrogen mimics, and we've also gone over real solutions. MAHA is our roadmap to a healthier America. With that all being said, that moves us into our next segment, which is the cold monologue. For those of you who do not know what the cold monologue is, you ask us questions throughout the week. My editor-in-chief, she writes them down, puts them in a hat. I pick one of your questions, and then you get my pure, authentic reaction. So without further ado, let's see what we have in store for today. What is the toughest aspect of running your own podcast? That's a loaded question, and there's several different aspects that come to mind. The first one being, contrary to the internet trolls' belief, this does take a lot of time, and I do have a full-time job. So on top of me producing this content, I also have to work for a living. This isn't paying the bills yet. I hope one day it can pay the bills, but we are not nearly there yet. And as much as this is a fun hobby and everything like that, there's a lot of work that goes into it. It's not just putting a video out there. I have to make edits on it, I have to clip it so I can go on Reels and Shorts and promote the content. I have to do little impromptu promotions. I have to write the entire script up, do my research behind it, get all my notes and make everything flow smoothly. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's basically having a second job. In addition to that as well, the internet trolls, I don't let them bother me. I really don't. I'm talking to you, TikTok. I don't get nearly as much hate anywhere else besides TikTok. Everyone on there wants to post threats and say, watch your neck and different things like that. So kudos to you, TikTok. You're keeping it real, I suppose. But it is, sometimes it can be disheartening. However, in today's modern day political climate, you almost have to put your life on the line, unfortunately. That is just where we are today. I wish it was not that way, but in me doing this, I'm accepting the risk that I potentially might risk my life for promoting what I love and preaching what I love. But kudos again to TikTok, because your comments always keep me entertained, and like I said, it's just something that I kind of have to expect getting into the politics. I have high ambitions to be the president or to be in some sort of political capacity. This just goes along with the title and it goes along with the job. Excellent question, by the way. But with that being said, I do have one more thing for you. As promised, I am going to read my celebration speech, or my ceremonial speech, that I gave today in my public speaking class. This was my last assignment I had to do. Enjoy the speech. It is great. I have it right here in front of me, so we'll dive into it. My fellow Americans, in the words of Abraham Lincoln, we are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. Today, as I stand before you on this historic day, humbled by the trust you've placed in me, I am reminded of the unbreakable spirit that has defined our great nation through trials and triumphs, from the Founding Fathers' bold experiment in liberty to the everyday acts of courage that bind us still. This is my inauguration as President of the United States, a solemn occasion where we pause to reflect on our shared past, honor the resilience of our present, and chart a bold path forward together. In this address, I will speak of the unity that binds us as one people, the progress that propels us into tomorrow, in the prosperity we will build for every generation to come. Let us begin by embracing the unity that has always been our greatest strength. Unity binds us as one nation. In times of division, we have risen together, as we've seen in national challenges like devastating natural disasters, where communities from coast to coast, red states to blue, urban and rural, unite to rebuild stronger than before. Think of the personal stories of everyday heroes, the teacher who bridges cultural gaps in our diverse classroom, inspiring young minds to see beyond labels, or the neighbor who extends a hand across political lines, reminding us that compassion knows no party. And now I may have a letter next to my name, but I promise to serve for all, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and those who feel unheard, because our democracy thrives when we commit to dialogue and empathy, healing old wounds and building bridges that fortify our union. With unity as our unshakable foundation, we can now turn to the progress that will drive us into a brighter tomorrow. Progress propels us forward, innovating solutions like to age-old problems and embracing change with unwavering courage. Our history is a tapestry of innovation, from the triumph moon landing that showcased American power to the digital revolutions that have connected us across oceans and ideas. Today, we must invest in education and technology, empowering the next generation so that every child, no matter their zip code or background, has the tools to dream big, invent boldly, and achieve the impossible. Through sustainable practices and visionary policies, we will ensure our country remains a beacon of hope for our children. As we pursue this progress, let us ensure it leads to prosperity shared by all. Prosperity means lifting up the forgotten corners of our society with bold initiatives that deliver fair wages, accessible health care, and clear pathways out of poverty, honoring the dignity of work in factories, farms, and startups alike by celebrating the contributions of workers, entrepreneurs, and families from all walks of life. We build a society where success is not hoarded by the few, but shared generously, lifting every boat in our vast American harbor. In closing, let us reflect on these enduring pillars that will guide our journey ahead. Today we have celebrated unity as our unbreakable bond, progress as our powerful engine, and prosperity as our shared aspiration, forming the bedrock of a renewed and resilient nation. My fellow Americans, as Zachary Martin, your president, I pledge to lead with integrity, vision, and an unyielding commitment to you. Together, let us forge a future where our hope prevails over fear, where our differences become our strength, and where our best days undoubtedly lie ahead. Thank you, and God bless the United States of America. That was my speech that I gave today. It had to be 2 to 4 minutes long, so that was about 3 minutes. It was a lot of fun. I had an amazing time. I'm officially done with public speaking class. I learned so much from it, and there's so much more work that I have to do, but it is a good start nonetheless. With that all being said, well, folks, that's all we have in store for today. Join us on Monday as we have another live stream. Super excited about it. It has been an absolute hit. You all are amazing, so thank you, and keep supporting. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it is on YouTube Live. Share your thoughts on X and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Martin Memo. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Now, in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. This is The Martin Memo. The Martin Memo.